everyone. I'm Sarah Neville from the Chelsea School Committee, and we're here at the 3rd Annual Chelsea Research Festival. The Chelsea Research Festival is something that we started a couple years ago when I started to notice that there's a lot of research happening in Chelsea. A lot of people from Harvard, from BU, from Mass General Hospital are coming to Chelsea to collect data from our residents here. So we wanted to start an event that would give researchers a chance to share their findings back to the community that made their research possible. And we also have like 15 groups of Chelsea High students and Wright Middle School students who are presenting their own posters as well. So yeah, welcome to the Chelsea Research Festival. Take a look around at all of the cool work that's happening right here in our community, and we hope to see you next year and that we continue doing this year after year and get bigger and bigger.
Hi, my name's Emma Perez. I'm a genetic counselor at Mass General Brigham. In my poster here, we're talking about our study called eMERGE. We're focused on returning genetic disease risk for common conditions. We know diseases like heart disease and diabetes run in families, but we haven't had a genetic test to quantify this risk yet. So here we're recruiting adults and children to see if they're at increased risk for any of these conditions here. So things like breast cancer, asthma, type 1 or type 2 diabetes. And if they are at increased risk based on their genetics, we can go ahead and tell the patient and their doctor and see if they take any action based on this information. We are still in recruiting for this study. It's not quite over yet, so we hope to have some cool results to share soon.
Hi there. My name is Charles Hornstein. I am the Database and Program Evaluation Director for a domestic violence service organization called Harbor Cove. And today I'm here at the Chelsea Research Festival presenting a large collection of data from our different case notes of working with our clients in our emergency shelter for about 24 years. The reason I'm here today is because a lot of times one of the biggest reasons why people don't want to get involved in helping survivors of domestic violence, and particularly those experiencing homelessness, is there's unfortunately a lot of stereotypes about that our culture creates about those experiencing homelessness, such as the assumption that people are homeless due to substance use, or the assumption that people are homeless due to poor choices on their part, or they want to be homeless so they can use the system. And so what I did was I collected data from comparing our standard clients to ones that stay in shelter the longest, defined by 1 year or more, and largely just comparing and contrasting just how do stereotypes line up with how things actually are. And overwhelmingly what I'm finding is that the clients that tend to stay in shelter a little bit longer end up actually performing better. They end up more likely to find housing and employment in the long run. And what's actually more prevalent in terms of commonalities between those that tend to stay in shelter longer are barriers in systematic ways, such as disability or just being a person of color, that which also leads to its own systematic issues. And one of the most notable things is that of the common stereotype that most people are homeless due to substance use, the longest stays in Harbor Cove actually had a lower substance use rate than the ones that are in what we would call a traditional amount of time in Harbor Cove, with a whopping 0%. None of the people that were our longest stays in Harbor Cove had any substance use history whatsoever. And then for our general pool, it's still a very, very low number of just 1% of our population. So that's very overblown. And so largely what a lot of this data boils down to is that the shelters in our area that have time limits or have very strict assumptions of what our clients can do will typically perform less in terms of making meaningful change in someone's life. And so the best way to help these struggling communities is to, one, trust their story and just give them the space and the resources to grow. So thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Lee. I'm a PhD student over at the Boston University School of Public Health, and I'm here at the Chelsea Research Festival showcasing the research that we did as a collaboration between Green Roots, a nonprofit organization in Chelsea, and the BU School of Public Health. And so the research that we did is on the cool block, and we know that Chelsea is particularly hot during the summer. And so a lot of community residents and organizers got together to conduct the Cool Block intervention, essentially where we converted a vacant lot into some green space and then did some tree planting along the streets as well. And so we see here some of the temperature monitoring that we did over the last 4 years. And so we can see preliminary that some of the Cool Block intervention did work, and that the cool block temperatures did get a little bit cooler as a result of the intervention.
Hi, my name is Stephanie, and my research is on the harmful effects of uncertainty on U.S. asylum seeker health and well-being. And we decided to start this research project because on average, asylum seekers in the U.S. wait about 5 years for a decision on their asylum application. And a lot of the studies have been focused on the UK and Australia, and they found the correlation that there's poor health associated with longer waiting periods. So we decided to put this in the context of U.S. asylum seekers and refugees. So we completed interviews by phone from August 2022 to July 2023, and then we analyzed all of these interviews and organized them into these 5 different themes. So we had a total of 18 participants between the ages of 19 to 51 years old, and 11 of them were Spanish speakers and 7 were English speakers. 11 were Hispanic/Latino, and 7 were non-Hispanic and Latino. 8 were men and 10 were women, and on average, interviews lasted about 55 minutes long. So we also found that most of our participants were from Central America/the Caribbean, and they were split pretty evenly between being employed and not being employed. And most of them said that they spoke fair/poor English proficiency, and on average they had been in the U.S. between 1 to 10 years. So the first thing that we found was existential immobility, and this is that feeling that you're not able to make progress with your families or careers. So this quote highlights how this person is having trouble deciding whether to invest their money or not, because if they invest in like family and stocks or things like that, they might end up being deported, and all of that time would be wasted. We also found loss of agency related to limited physical mobility and access to resources. So this person's talking about how due to the long waiting period, they're not able to leave the U.S. to travel. So they're not really living their life. They're stuck in this limbo. We also found hopelessness, and that's feeling frustrated because you're unable to change your situation or outcome. So this person's saying that they can't persuade ICE to make a decision. They're just kind of waiting and waiting without any date. And then we also found poor health caused by increased fear of deportation and then overthinking of past traumas. So participants described how all of this is causing a lot of anxiety, stress, leading to depression, and they're just stuck in their room and not really being able to do anything. And then there was this huge underlying theme of not feeling like they can trust in institutions. And this was due to the lack of transparency, lack of information and resources, and just uneven asylum decisions across states. So people talked about how there's a lot of discrimination in ICE facilities, in Border Patrol, and how some of their friends had been accepted through asylum, even though they came at the same timeline. And then we identified different coping strategies, including mindfulness, avoidance, use of religion and the healthcare system, and social connections. So all of this points to there being a need for more clear policies, more clear access to resources, and a more clear pathway to getting asylum.
So welcome, my name is Eamon Swabney. I am doing a presentation on drama in high school, drama clubs. So specifically, our research question was how many kids would like to join drama club / theater club in high schools, not just here at Chelsea High, but all around the U.S. Well, we surveyed some kids. We had 91 responses. 84% of the responses said they would not want to join theater, and 11% said they would want to join theater, right? So we looked at these responses and we said, why would you not want to join theater? So the 84% that said they would not, they said the reason they would not is because it's embarrassing or it's time consuming. And I can get the embarrassing part because some people don't want to be on stage or things like that. But personally, me, I did crew, so I wasn't even on stage. I was doing photography and sound, so the audience didn't even see me, they didn't even interact with me. But my fellow member who's coming did Cass, so she was on stage. This is like her third performance, so she's done it. So it told us that many people really are not interested in theater because of the embarrassing part. So also we talked about how, in this one it's a little confusing, but in this one we talked about how Massachusetts requires arts as a core subject. So when you talk about art, I was talking about arts in general, painting, ceramics, things like that. But in here in Massachusetts, it's not required as a graduation requirement. But surprisingly, in New York, it is. In New York, to pass high school, you have to pass drama / theater club. So yeah, that's what our presentation is about.
Hi, thanks for having me at the Chelsea Research Festival. My name is Sumit Agarwal. I'm a primary care physician and a PhD student in health policy at Harvard. This project is about the Chelsea Eats program, which during the height of the pandemic, the city of Chelsea gave up to $400 a month to its residents to help them pay for groceries, utilities, anything else they might need during the pandemic when a lot of people lost their jobs or came down with COVID. And the city actually received more applications than it had funding, and so they allocated these cash cards, these debit cards, by lottery. And so that helps us understand what was the effect of this income, this extra income, on the lives of the residents who received it. And we found a couple important themes. The first is it really improved the health of the people who received the cash benefits, because we saw fewer emergency department visits related to behavioral health, related to substance use disorder, and instead we actually saw more visits to the outpatient clinic, to subspecialty care. And so these cash benefits may have helped residents overcome transportation barriers to seek the care of doctors further away from Chelsea. So overall we think providing a guaranteed income or some sort of cash support to low-income residents can actually improve health and access to care.
Hi, today we're talking about the bathroom policy at CHS. Chelsea High School first adopted the bathroom policy in the fall of 2022. It started to counteract skipping and vaping around CHS. But in the 2 years since the policy has been implemented, we've noticed that the administration has faced a lot of backlash, not only from students, but teachers and faculty members as well. Students have to wait in extremely long lines to use the bathrooms, which takes away from class time and learning. Let me see. We've also noticed that students report bathrooms which were supposed to be unlocked, opened, to be locked at the wrong times, which is a big problem. We do have some data.
Okay, so we started this project in a separate classroom called Civics and Data. We chose this project as our topic because we noticed how it affects not only us, but a lot of other students as well. So if you look at this survey, if you scan the code, you will see the responses, you will see the formatting that we did. And in this column right here, in this QR code, you will look at the sources, our past slideshow with, again, more research that we have made. We have turned that research into different visuals. So this visual, for example, shows how long students typically wait to use a bathroom. We surveyed that over 75% of the students reported spending 5 to 20 minutes over spending in the bathroom, waiting for the bathroom. And we also realized that gender actually played a role in what bathrooms were accessible and what bathrooms were not. For example, men have easier access to open bathrooms compared to women. And that's pretty much what our data concluded today.
Yeah, so like as she said, like like the males has it more easier because since there's like some supposedly on the same floor the boys and girls has to be open, but usually we only find one bathroom that's open. That would be mainly the boys, and that for the girls they will have to go like say on like the other side of the school or like on the top just to look for an open bathroom for them.
Hi everyone, my name is Barbara Espinosa. I'm a staff member at Green Roots. I work as the Environmental Justice and Health Equity Organizer. And I'm going to talk to you about a project, Sea Heat, that we've been collaborating with the Boston University School of Public Health. So like I mentioned, the project is called Sea Heat. It stands for like heat in Chelsea and East Boston in some way. And yeah, what we try to do in this project is try to reduce heat, specifically in really, really hot areas around Chelsea. And this is a map in which you can see the ambient temperature in Chelsea, and the really, really red areas are the areas of Chelsea that are really, really hot. So what we are trying to do is try to reduce heat by involving residents, planting trees, increasing water stations. And yeah, we hope you can come take a look at our poster and all the other cool posters around here.
Okay, so our research was about TikTok and our effects on students, especially on the attention span. And we did a survey and we gave it to students and also teachers so they can interview their students. And some of the data that we collected was like, how does TikTok contribute to your cell phone use, your screen time, and your use of TikTok within classes. And the results were 85% of students use TikTok within class, and 67% of the students who have TikTok use it more than 1 hour daily, and 65% of students agree that TikTok has contributed to their phone use. We decided to research about this specific issue as me myself, and as an example myself. I be doing work as essays, projects, research like this, and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna work for like 10 minutes and then I'll take a break, and that break expands into like a whole hour, and then I'd be like, I don't want to do it no more. And that's mostly due to TikTok being like a punch to us. And that 30-second video, we get like a full entertainment, boom, 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 and we get going. And one of the solutions that we offer to everyone is like learn how to limit yourself and learn like not everything has to be on your phone. You can do more things outside of like your phone, and limiting yourself is like actually a skill that you should learn how to do, as many things are not as useful as you think. But yeah.
My name is Tyler, and this is my project on marijuana usage. So in this project, we wanted to test our students' knowledge on marijuana, and we basically wanted to see like whether or not they think that marijuana affects them negatively or not. And to do that, here I have my comrades right here. To do that, we created a survey asking our students a bunch of questions, like, do you use marijuana? And as you can see here, it doesn't say here because we were kind of in a rush, but 82 people actually said that they don't use marijuana, and we expected that result, so we had to follow up with another question asking if they were aware or have witnessed anybody else use marijuana. And as you can see over here, 69 people said that they've seen people use marijuana. So obviously, a lot of people in the school use marijuana. We also asked other questions about factors, like asking our students. We wanted to know why they would use negative drugs like this. So we asked them about questions about like what factors do you think like influence them the most. And over here, as we can see, the biggest primary factor is stress or escapism. And for the last data, we asked them if they think that marijuana affects them negatively, like academically and behaviorally. And as you can see over here, the data is very mixed in results, and that raises some concerns for us because we all know that marijuana affects like people negatively with like affects our focus in school. So it just like makes us worry that our students don't really know like how marijuana affects them.
One of our biggest inspirations for this project was a prior project that we had done. So that project consisted of us actually going up to students and surveying them one-on-one. And we actually we surveyed students who use and students who don't. But we thought we'd accomplish more surveying multiple classes and asking teachers to present it. So this is more of an outside-in point of view. We thought we wouldn't achieve as much going up to the main source, which would be kids or underclassmen that we see that might be smoking, because most of the time, many might not want to admit or might hit them to a certain extent and have them think about it. So we thought, let's survey other students, and this was the information we gathered through it. And yeah, that's about it.
Good afternoon, my name is Stacy Smith and I'm here today at Chelsea High School's Research Festival for the second year. Today I'm presenting a poster about the life and trials of Fannie Fairweather, who was an enslaved woman here in Chelsea, Massachusetts, by the Carey family, the very wealthy Carey family. My poster depicts more of a transparent story of Fannie Fairweather than some of us may know. I've done several years of research to provide this poster to everybody, and in recent months, I'll say, I've been in discussion with the new seated president as well as the local government on telling Fannie's story in a more transparent, honorable, and respectable way here in Chelsea, Mass. So you will be seeing some memorabilia for her soon. Thank you.
Just taking a screenshot of that real quick.
Okay.
Just to kind of.
Hi. We had research how frequently students from CHS go to Dunkin' Donuts and how much they spend. We chose this topic because we realized that a lot of students at CHS get Dunkin' Donuts before school and after school. We had compared minimum wage to students spending at Dunkin' Donuts to see if students are overspending at Dunkin' Donuts. We will use Google Forms to survey the students at CHS so we can collect data and see how much of CHS students go to Dunkin' and how much they spend at Dunkin' Donuts.
We surveyed around 99 students in CHS, and majority of the students said yes, that they go before school and after school. We even surveyed about how much they spend, and majority of kids say $6 to $9 to $10, and we also surveyed how much they go a time a week. Majority said they don't go, but someone said 1, twice, 3 to 6 times a week, or 7 times a week. And that's like a lot. It's a lot, and that's just how can I explain it? It's really bad because minimum wage here is 15, and that's almost like a full hour of working. So that's an hour gone.
Hi, my name is Javen Diaz. I'm one of the student reps here, and the 3 student reps here at Chelsea High, we created a student-led survey that was basically stating the 3 most impactful things at student success, and then 2 or 3 concerns for students here at Chelsea High. So if we see here at the student success, we've seen that athletics, CHS events, and CHS clubs were a majority of the most successful things among students here at Chelsea High. We also seen that a welcoming school environment and teacher and student relationships were among some of the most important things to students here at Chelsea High. For concerns, we have bathroom and safety and attendance related issues that are the top concerns here at Chelsea High. We also dedicated some time to show some recommendations that we have, because without showing this data, without solutions, this data would not be meaningful. So it's meaningful that students led this survey and students were able to get more peers than some of the other surveys in past before that weren't led by students. We got about 25% of the student body coming in at 437 respondents, and the grade breakdown is pretty even. So we got clear-cut info on what's going on here at Chelsea High from each grade level and understanding the successes and concerns here at Chelsea High.
Hi, I'm John Burns. I'm a resident of Chelsea, and I'm here to present my poster, Electrify All the Things. So what I did was an assessment of all the energy usage in my household with the goal of measuring the carbon footprint that we're producing in our house. So using some sensors, a sensor on my oil tank to measure the amount of oil that we use every hour in the house through the winter months, and sensors in my electricity panel, we're able to get a sense of where the power is going in our house and figure out exactly how much carbon intensity that energy has. And so what we basically are reporting here is that 60% of the usage of electricity in my house, or 60% of my carbon footprint in our house, is coming from our oil boiler from October through April, and then 40% comes from our electricity usage in the house.
So our project is developing a dashboard for the citizens of Chelsea to be able to monitor the status of COVID levels by measuring viral loads in the wastewater. So what you're actually seeing here is a demo of what the dashboard will look like once it's launched and available on the website. And the data that's being presented is measuring the wastewater. So just taking samples from the sewer, seeing how much virus is in the water, because that can be an early indicator of the spread of the disease before you have to test people, before you have to actually see who has it and calculate whether it's increasing or not. So it's a helpful early sign, and here what we're trying to do is just communicate very simply what's the risk. Is it a high risk, red, and what should I do to respond to that? The second page gives you even more data just to see where is the load now relative to where it's been in years past for the different diseases. The main purpose here is just to make the information very easily accessible, very easy to digest, so people have actionable information and can protect themselves if the viral load is changing.
Hi, yes, this is our poster, which is a collaboration between MGH, CHA, East Boston, city-based organizations like Green Roots and La Colaborativa, and the city of Chelsea. This was essentially a response to the event that happened at the Tobin Bridge with the paint chips flying off. And at that time, not really having an immediate response to be able to test the pediatric population that might have been impacted by the event. So what we did together is essentially conduct a database pool where each of the hospital systems identified patient populations that were not up to date with our lead screenings, and did an outreach to that patient population. And that was done via emails, MyChart communications, and I believe even phone calls. The city complemented those efforts by doing also publications in our local paper. We also did interviews with local radio stations, and this was all in an effort to increase our lead screening rates here in Chelsea, because since COVID they've gone down. In 2017, I think our screening rates were close to like 90 plus. And since COVID, they've decreased drastically to 60%. And given what we had just experienced with the Tobin Bridge, we really wanted to underscore the importance of screening rates, given the health impacts of lead, especially on children. So what the hospitals did is that, well, one, we built the collaboration, right? And then they identified the children that needed to be screening. They went through their own communication strategies and also established protocols within the hospital systems so that families could go and get tested and have those be low barriers. So if they didn't really need to see a PCP, appointment. They could just go directly to the lab and say, I need to get tested for blood. And so CHA essentially, so this is still an ongoing study. We have gone through the first phase, but we're still going through the phase in which we are evaluating how that outreach went. So CHA is the only hospital system that was able to assess their initial phase of outreach. And what they found here is that 15 of the 15 patients who received the outreach came to get tested over that month. And I don't have CHA here to fully explain the results. Hi, I'm being recorded, sorry. But, you know, it really does show that the outreach worked compared to what they were seeing in August and what they saw like September, October. So with the outreach, the number of people who responded and brought their children to get tested was effective in increasing that.
Did you have a sense of how much of it out of the population that you were hoping to bring in?
So I think each hospital has identified close to maybe 200 patients who are not up to date. Each 200, so maybe like a combined 600 figure. And so we're still like in the evaluation phase. This was essentially a really short period where they looked at the data. I think part of the challenges for us is that we're not the ones who have direct access to this data, and we have to rely on the population health teams to do the data pools, and we also have to rely on the state's data to actually give us the aggregate percentages of number of cases.
Just to know how many out there.
Exactly, just to know how many out there. But what we do know, though, and what we concluded, not just from this study, but even from previous efforts, is that collaborative work and leveraging each of our resources is key to addressing public health concerns here in the city and meeting the needs of Chelsea residents.
How did you bring everybody together? Zoom meeting every month?
So since COVID, we've maintained a bi-weekly meeting that we call the Chelsea Project.
Okay.
And so those meetings sort of take different shapes, and the focus is different depending on what the priority is. So when we first started, it was obviously COVID. Now it has really shifted, and one of the benefits of that is that as needed, we bring experts in the field to help us troubleshoot solutions. And with this, we had already a core group. So what we did is we started inviting different hospital systems, other experts in the field. So we had Dr. Landrigan part of the conversation, and he is renowned in this area and was actually, I think, the author of a manuscript that dated back to the 80s that really described the same problem statement that we saw last year with the Tobin Bridge and the chips. He described that back in the 80s. So I think that's one of the areas that we recognize that not much has changed over the last decades, and that is really unfortunate for us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Noah.
Hello, my name is Natasha Baez. I'm a community health worker from Mass General Chelsea, and this is our project for research that we have been working on. Our project was to improve access to autism and specialty care through a community health worker specialist, which is my role. So I essentially assist patients in navigating the system between Chelsea Healthcare Centers and the Partnership for Glory Center for evaluations for autism. I also help the families with social determinants of health, and this is just helping with extra barriers that the families usually encounter while trying to get an evaluation seen an increase from our patients who previously were not assisted by a community health worker and the beginning of the community health worker role. So as we can see here, where before, prior to the introduction of my role, the Lurie Center was not receiving a lot of referrals, specifically because they were a little bit hard to access for the population or the general population in Chelsea and other healthcare centers that were in Boston or in the Boston area. And after the introduction of my role, we see an increase in the assistance that has been provided to those families while navigating the healthcare system as well.
Hi, my name is Sam Fleischman. I'm a clinical research assistant at the Lurie Center. And we found through this partnership and through this role, the ASD-CHW Natasha here, that it drastically increased the number of referrals, completed referrals, evaluations, and really made a significant impact in terms of access to care at the Lurie Center. So yeah, our conclusion is that roles like this, the community health worker, have a huge potential to make an impact.
Okay, my name is Brian, and we have a project right here. It's called the Rye High School for Rising High Schoolers at Chelsea, Massachusetts. And so the reason we chose to do a study on this project was because of the fact that myself and my group mates, we all were middle schoolers here in the Chelsea district. And at some point in 8th grade, we were poised with the choice of either applying to Northeast, or we just wait and we're admitted if we're qualified into Chelsea High School. And for the most part, this choice means absolutely nothing for us. You know, we either just follow our friends, or we go to where our siblings went or where our parents want us to go. And for the most part, this choice could actually be pretty crucial for a lot of these students' futures, careers, or where they end up after high school. So for us, we wanted to create a model for these middle schoolers to sort of guide them into what they wanted to do. If you look right here, we wanted to look at what their graduates of each high school was doing right after high school. So at Northeast, at least 60% of their graduates went on to higher education. But at Chelsea High School, at least 65% of them go into higher education. So if you think about it, this is quite a similar student population, and at face value, this kind of doesn't mean anything in terms of making a choice. But you kind of have to put yourself in the mind and in the brain of this 8th grader, and also at what courses are offered here aside from the traditional courses. For example, here at Chelsea High School, aside from our traditional courses, we have this partnership with Bunker Hill Community College. We have early college and dual enrollment, which will all have, these have different categories and majors, and you can get college credits which prepare you for college. And which will also like give you a college experience, because we either have it here at Chelsea High School or they have a Chelsea campus. But at Northeast, they have this college prep, but for the most part, you see these dozens of choices in trades and jobs you can enter right after high school. For example, I knew somebody who went to Northeast, and right after Northeast, they were offered a job at this massive electricity company with a job right out of high school. And so when you look at this, you might think the choice isn't really important, but it's all down to what you're offered and what you're being, like, I guess, trained to do. And also, at the same time, if you wanted to do something at the beginning of your 8th grade career, your mind's not always going to want to do that at the end of 12th grade. Because your mind's always changing. You're going to experience new things, you're going to want new things. So it's a great thing to see, well, you're in 8th grade, you apply to either Northeast or Chelsea High School, you want one thing, but it's great to see that you can change your mind and you go into this other field. So a major takeaway for this is apply to a school that aligns with your needs. But around the road, just know that it's always safe to want to change your mind because of this data.
So the topic is on college campus cancer clusters, the story that rocked NC State. Well, we realized when we were looking at these graphs that cancer rates in young adults started rising because back then in 1975, in these like earlier years, the cancer rates per 100,000 people were really low, but then out of nowhere in 1955 to today, it just started skyrocketing. So we were looking for like any leads that we could find, and one big lead we found was North Carolina State with the college in North Carolina, and one specific building called Polha. In that building, 192 students got cancer and 21 died. Inside the building, there was large, like high amounts of PCBs found, which is probable human carcinogens or polychlorinated biphenyls. These PCBs, the hazardous exposure level is 50 parts per million, and inside the building, well, not inside, outside the building, because the college didn't want to let agencies go inside the building to like do a full-on check. So outside the building, they found 17,000 parts per million of PCBs, which is like way higher than hazardous.
And here we can see the building, and it's just the exterior. So in the interior, we're not sure if it's like, it could possibly be even higher than 17,000 parts per million, which is very concerning.
And PCBs is like, it's in everything. It's in our food, it's in our internet, it's in the water, it's in electric
appliances. And the important part is that it's in our receipts when the ink gets like hot and it burns. So whenever, let's say you put it in your pocket, it like gets stuck, it touches your clothes and it goes everywhere.
And it goes in your body, like all the plastics, all the micro like molecules in there, it gets in your body and then affects you. So right here, also in the building we found high radiation levels on the outside because they couldn't like look inside the inside. The reason why the radiation is bad is because it blocks the cells from doing its normal like cycle, which is it kills off old and damaged cells from duplicating, like replicating and dividing. And
you guys want to continue? Speak up too.
So let's keep on going. The cells, normally they divide and replicate, so they can like keep on reproducing the neurons. But when it's blocked off, because the normal process is to kill off the old and damaged cells, so mutations will occur.
And then tumors grow, and then that's when cancer happens.
So since it's blocked off, they just keep on growing.
As we can see here, there's a radiation therapy treatment when the normal cells and the cancer cells are mixed together. And as you can see, the treatment like fixes it because the purple color begins to fade, and the
normal cells are right here, the cancer cells. So radiation just kills, like it uses gamma rays, ionizing gamma rays to kill off the dying cancer cells. And some normal cells are damaged too, but the process is okay because the cell's normal process is killing off cells so they can make healthier ones. So this doesn't really affect the physician. It just goes back to its normal process.
And they repair themselves. And then here's a pie chart, which basically just shows us like most of like the reports of cancer and like the percentages. So 46% was breast cancer, and then thyroid cancer was more common than lymphoma. So thyroid cancer was 34%, and lymphoma was 20%.
Yeah, and then right here is just visuals of how the cancer spreads from the cell. It forms because the radiation or the PCBs block it off. So then it just keeps on dividing and it keeps on replicating, and that's how it gets large and forms tumors. And the conclusion is that we propose that exponentially high levels of PCBs current with high radiation levels are the environmental trigger for high cancer rates and cancer rates rising in young people.
So like the main causes.
Hi, my name is Sarah Neville, and I'm here telling Cindy about my poster. Cindy, do you want to introduce yourself too?
Hi, Cindy Rosenberg, the Administrator of Special Education for the Chelsea Public School District.
So what I did is I compiled all of the events that I could find that happened in Chelsea that could be suitable for kids 0 to 5 years old. I put them all in a big spreadsheet, I tagged them, I categorized them by age, whether they were in person or virtual, and all this different stuff. And then I analyzed them to see, you know, how many events do we have for kids in the city, little kids. I found that only 7% of the days from January to April of this year had an event for babies, that was meant for children 0 to 1, that was in person and not virtual. I found that our sports leagues that are here in Chelsea, we don't have anything for kids who are under 4. So we don't have any soccer leagues for 2 and 3-year-olds to kick around.
They can do it. Those children can do it.
I could only find one dance class, one music class, and they were available for a couple days, but not even the whole duration across all 4 months. So I'm just trying to bring attention to this issue, because you can see in other communities they have a lot more events available for kids. Like, for example, Boston Public Library has this little play group for babies that can't even walk yet. There's some place in Boston where kids can like do dance or music classes. In Winthrop they have drop-in play groups. So every single day moms can take their kids to the FKO Center in Winthrop and play there. And the reason why I care so much about this is because I actually found out by analyzing the census data that Chelsea has a greater proportion of residents under age 5 than any other city in Massachusetts. So we have a ton of families who are giving birth to babies. We have a ton of new moms. We have a ton of little kids here. They're not all in daycare, they're not all in childcare. There's a lot of moms who are isolated, who are stuck at home, and they need places to take their kids to meet other parents, to socialize their kids. And I used these research methods to bring attention to this issue.
Thank you so much, Sarah. This is great information.
Okay, so our subject is the attendance policy, which the attendance policy is a policy where it deducts 10 points if you have more than 3 unexcused absences in class. And the reason why we chose this was to see if it affects students and if it's really fair, if it's a fair policy to have around the CHS, depending on the students' views and perspectives.
All right. So we surveyed the students at CHS to see how they feel about the policy. Over here, we asked if they thought the policy was fair. Many of them said no, while very little said yes. We asked if the attendance policy has helped them with their academics. Many have said no, little have said yes. On a scale of 1 to 10, we asked how affected they are from the attendance policy. There's a lot of people who aren't affected, but there are a lot of people who are affected in some kind of way. And this just shows us how the attendance policy has not really impacted them positively and more negatively. It's not really the policy.
More continuing off of what Kevin said, a lot of this data was meant to help show teachers, principals, and staff of Chelsea High that this is not working. They have tried changing it, and we have seen that because they lowered it, a lot more students are not coming to school and or skipping classes. But something we got to think about within that case is causation over correlation. Causation does not equal correlation. Kind of meaning that just because they made it so it's less of a deduction doesn't mean that's the reason people are not coming to school. There are other reasons to look at, like new freshmen coming into school, new kids becoming seniors and ready to go out. I have a lot of friends who are like, yeah, I'm a senior, why should I care about being in class, or why should I care about coming to school if I'm graduating this year? Because they already have all their stuff planned out and stuff. Would you like to continue?
First of all, I want to start off by saying causation does not equal correlation. That was wrong. It was the other way around. In fact, it was correlation does not equal causation. But just to say, I will say that this attendance policy has been implemented with good, a good view. You want the students to come to class, be successful, and everything. But if students are showing up to class, do they really care about their grades? And if there are students For two reasons, this is bad. One, the students aren't showing up to class, they don't care about their grades, and you're dropping their grades. Why is that going to motivate students to come to class more? It doesn't make sense. And if students have something else going on in their life, they have something important, you're just hurting the students who actually care about school. I do believe that the school wants to help us as students, but the way that they're trying to help us doesn't work. They should focus on trying to figure out what to take away. Or even, not even just what to take away, how to help us. Maybe students just need someone to talk to, you know, what's going on.
May I add on? Yeah, when looking at this as a situation, we want to think more of how is this e-policy helping, right? And we want to see how we can change that to better make that a reality. With stuff like making sure that students have people to talk to, making sure we understand why they're coming late, and not just being like, hey, we're deducting points because they're coming late. Apologies, bit of a brain fart there. Sorry. You want to continue?
Yeah, I feel like he's talking more about like how the students here aren't really communicating as much with like staff or like higher ups, like their deans or teachers, like someone to talk to, you know. If there's something like an emergency going on, I don't feel like everybody has or feels like they have someone to talk to. And even if they have their social worker, yeah. There's only one social worker and so many students. I feel like there should be a specific group to target these students who are struggling and have things going on so we could help them to improve their attendance, grades, and overall academic experience. Because it seems that it's not helping them. As you see, the way Bigger Circle represents the people who are not being helped because their academic experience is not being improved. This means this policy doesn't seem to be working. Now, to be fair, we only serve 84 students, right? There's probably 1,000 and something students in the school. We don't know, but our claims are made on this small portion of students that we survey. We would try to survey more students, maybe to, you know, target a larger audience. Maybe this data will change, maybe not. But from our experiences, talking to students and everything, we have noticed that it is not helping us.
Hi, I'm Dr. Beta, the superintendent of Chelsea Public Schools, and I am at the Research Festival today. And as you can see, there's a lot of hustle and bustle, and so many people came out to share their research about Chelsea. So all of the research in the auditorium is specific to Chelsea and the impacts on Chelsea and the city of Chelsea. So it's just great to be here with such a wonderful turnout today. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that came. Thank you to all the researchers who are sharing. They're amazing researchers. We have students from the middle schools up until to people from MGH outside our community. So it's just a real exciting event, and I look forward to another event next year.